Hi everyone, it's Kristen. So as you can maybe kind of see, Dazzler's right here on the table sleeping. Well, she was sleeping, but it looks like she's gonna go back to sleep. Um, anyway, so she's just cute. So for today, Tuesday, we have Star-Lord, which I feel like I've just talked about him recently, citing the difference between, the MCU and the comic book. So, and then, my favorite thing, a stat card for Thor. Ooh, that means we can compare him to Loki. Awesome. Okay, so he is 6'6" and 640 pounds. And like I've discovered, Asgardians are all, like, their body mass must be, like, denser or something. Because 6'6" and you weigh 640 pounds. So, obviously their anatomy, their physiology is different than just us normal human people. So intelligence 2, so normal. Strength 7, that's like the highest you can get is a 7. Right, kitty? Yes, you're so cute. Speed 7. Oh, that actually surprises me. I didn't know he was so fast. Durability 6, energy 6, skills 4. So he's almost maxed out on like everything. So let's see. So if we compare him to, like, for example, let's see, Balder, who is all his, his half brother, intelligence 3, strength 5, speed 2. Oh, okay, wow. Durability 6, energy 1, skills 5. Okay. And then he's 6'5" and 650, Balder. Okay, so Loki, let's compare his stats. Intelligence 5, so Loki is definitely smarter than Thor. Strength 5, almost comparable. Speed 3, interesting. Durability 6, so same. Energy 6, same. Skills 3, so Thor just has skills of 4. So it's really interesting to see these, these matchups, like how their stats stack against each other. Because of course, even though you might have a greater, energy level or speed than somebody else, they could have higher intelligence and more skills, or have been, doing this way longer, so to speak. It also really depends, like, because, there's always those, in a lot of groups I'm in, there's always, like, versus posts, like, this person versus this person, who would win. And you always get 3 different answers, basically. Someone will say, oh, this person wins for sure, hands down. And someone will say, no, this person wins for sure. There's no way that this person would win. And then my favorite response is, it depends on who's doing the writing, which is so true. Because you've had characters face each other before, and the one character lost, and then you have them face each other again with a different writer, and that character wins. So really, honestly, I feel like those versus posts, unless you have, they're kind of, I don't want to say pointless, but kind of, because it really honestly depends on the writer. Because even in new series, you see that writers don't always follow oh, she just left. Oh, she jumped up. Well, that was cute, though, that she was laying there for a little while. But writers don't always keep up with all of, the characters' past and what writers have written before. And so they don't, or they don't take that into account, or they want to write them how they want to write them, which I get. So, so yeah, the whole versus post, they're fun to discuss, but kind of pointless at the same time. And also, they are fun to discuss, but sometimes people get pretty heated and mad. So it's like, oh, okay. So you just kind of have to be careful. I know that some groups have, like, banned those posts. They're like, we're not doing those, because people get so upset. So, but I think it's just fun since we have the stat cards, to compare the stat cards. because this is kind of like, okay, the same writer, is writing these two characters, and based on these stats, who do you think would win? That sort of thing. So, like I said, I think it's just fun. And so for today, we actually have Quicksilver, who, yes, started out in the X-Men, but I don't really consider him an X-Men character, so to speak, because he spent way more time with the Avengers or by himself. So this is from Captain America 179, November 74. Also appears in Daredevil 104, May 74, Submariner 71, July of 74, and Amazing Adventures number 33, November of 75. And this is from the Avengers 75, April 70. And on the front it says, grab Quicksilver, he's the only one who can stop the world from blowing up. And it says, at last, they're back. Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. So, of course, I've talked about this before. I'm not happy that they retooled their origin so that they're not mutants and they're not Magneto's kids. So, we're just not going to talk about that. So, of course, they started with Magneto as part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, but then Magneto and Toad got captured by, oh man, I forgot his name, but he's a cosmic entity and he wanted to study them. So once they got captured, they left, they bummed around Europe for a while, got recruited by the Avengers, and so they joined the Avengers. And really, of course, honestly, most of the focus between the two is on Wanda, because she has the power to alter probability, and she's been in the middle of some really big events. But it seems like like she gets captured a lot. Like Quicksilver has to go rescue her, go find her. Of course, one of the times he got hurt by a sentinel, and Crystal, the Inhuman, rescued him. She nursed him back to health, and they fell in love, got married, had a daughter. There have been times, though, when he has left them because Crystal has been involved with somebody else. There was a time when, Maximus, the Inhuman who's a little bit crazy, Black Bolt's brother, manipulated Quicksilver into thinking Avengers were the bad guys and they were like to blame for everything. So he set them up to take the fall for something. And then he eventually snapped out of it, but yeah, he and Crystal just have a very tumultuous relationship. They've been together and she's cheated on him a couple times, and then he lost his powers because of M-Day, because he basically told Wanda, you should make it to where mutants are the majority and humans are the minority. And Magneto, well, thanks to Wolverine, who retained his memories, and Butterfly, who actually could give people back their memories, that whole thing was, switched back to reality. But before that, Magneto was so upset at Quicksilver for, basically, I don't even know how to put it. He was mad that Quicksilver cheated him, of his dream, or made it so his dream was a reality, because that's the whole thing. Magneto thinks that mutants should rule over humans, and because they're homo superior. But he was mad that Quicksilver basically cheated him of that in a way. So he killed him, and that, when Wanda saw that, she snapped out of, the state she was in, set everything back to reality. So Quicksilver technically didn't die. And then she said she realized that Magneto cared more about mutants in his cause than he does his own kids, which, if you saw your brother being killed by your father because your father was mad because he was cheated out of achieving his dream, in a way, then yeah, you would think that too. So that's when she whispered no more mutants, and she depowered most of the population of mutants. And that period was really interesting because there's only like 98 mutants left. So you went from like millions to 98. And then of course that got reset too, to where people were, gained back their powers. And then you had millions again, and then things like Genosha or come along and wipe out mutants again, trying to keep their population down. So anyway, so Quicksilver was pretty upset because he lost his powers. So he tried to use the Terrigen crystals from the Inhumans. Oh, she came back. To regain his powers. And he actually did give himself new powers. And he was able to, like, time jump. And so using his powers, he kidnapped his daughter Luna. And when Black Bolt demanded the return of the crystals. And when Crystal found out that he had used the crystals without permission, she annulled their marriage. Because apparently she, in Inhuman lore, whatever, you can do that. You can annul the marriage just like that. But a lot of people get their marriages annulled. Like, I'm pretty sure Black Panther and Storm got their marriage annulled instead of getting a divorce. I'm pretty sure Emma and Tony got theirs annulled. I guess they don't really like to talk about divorce. They'd rather just say, oh, it was annulled. Oh, she's gonna go back to sleep. Oh, that's so cute. I wish you guys could see her. Like, she's curled up on the table in a little ball, but you can't, I think you can see her ear, and that's it. Anyway, sorry, she's just cute. Oh, and she barely ever gets up here with me anymore. She used to do it almost every video, and now she hasn't in a little while. So anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so Quicksilver, the crystals were taken out of him by Richter, and but his powers came back. And he did all these things that, he really shouldn't have done. And he blamed it on the Skrull. Because, Secret Wars, Skrull invasion. There was a Skrull doing, terrible things while posing as him. But the Skrull wasn't responsible for everything he did. Because Quicksilver has quite a temper. And a lot of times, he doesn't think things through. So, yeah. So he just pretended like, oh yeah, the Skrull, he was responsible for all the terrible things I have done. And of course, his daughter Luna knew the truth. She knew that he still did some of those things. So for a while, he just pretended. And then eventually and they were estranged because of that. Because Luna knew, who her father was and wasn't happy with him. And then after a while, he finally owned up to all of his mistakes. And then they reconciled. And so he's been, a member of the Avengers off and on. And he was a member of the X Factor. But that was only like, I think 20 to 25 issues. Like the original X Factor run. Not the original, like the Xavier's original 5, but, after that. And then he, at one point, joined X Factor again, and then he left again. He's just not really much of a team player, because he feels like he should be the one in charge, and he clashes with people. And I remember something about how because he moves at hyper speed, and so everyone around him is slow to him. And he even thinks fast, so he gets irritated with people a lot of times because they just don't move or think as fast as he does. But sometimes when he thinks too fast, he gets in trouble. Like, he does things he shouldn't do. So, anyway, I mean, I'm excited to see another kind of X-Men related ish character, because, I mean, he definitely was X-Men, because he showed up in X-Men and the animated series in that one episode, Cold Comfort with Iceman. So that was cool. But yeah, just of course, like I said, between him and Wanda, Wanda has always been more of the focus. And he's kind of been regulated to the background between the two. And as I said, sorry, he's not much of a team player. I think he did join the Avengers Academy as a teacher for a little while. So that was interesting. I feel like he was trying to make up for his mistakes, that he all the mistakes he had made in the past by trying to help, train the new generation. So, anyway, oh, I don't know if you can hear her. No, I don't think so. But she's snoring now. Like, she fell asleep quick. Like, she must be tired of doing nothing all day while I've been gone at work. Which, I guess, cats, that's what they do. They sleep a lot. But it's funny because usually when I get home at night, she's like full of energy and I have to let her run around the house for like a couple hours before I can even go to sleep because she has too much energy, and I can hear her running into stuff and skating across the hallway and like sharpening her claws on everything, just jumping in and out of the windows. It's just, I guess, yeah, that's just cats. So anyway, I hope you will join me again in the future for more videos. And until then, bye.